Over a week ago, a close vote in Southeast Michigan turned down the millage for regional transit. And since the RTA was formed back in 2012 and it took 4 years to get this plan on the ballot, where is the plan B for regional transit? You know, we've been talking about this recently, and you look at the vote, and so Washtenaw County voted for it. Macomb County voted against it. It was a close vote in Oakland County, but they voted it down. Detroit voted for it, but then Wayne County did not. What do you make of what message that sends? Nolan, let me start with you.
Well, in Wayne County, they had another big tax on the ballot in the school millage, and I suspect voters said, well, we'll go one, but we won't go two, because Wayne County is usually pretty good at passing those sort of measures. I think what they've got now is 2 years to figure out a plan that appeals to, that makes people who don't now ride a bus feel like, hey, maybe I can ride a bus. And they didn't send that message out strong enough in this campaign. They didn't make it about everyday commuters getting another option for getting to work. I think over the next 2 years, they can take some time and look where this new mobility business is going in terms of how you incorporate ride sharing and possibly even up the road self-driving vehicles. So it's not a, stuck in place bus system, traditional bus system, that they incorporate these new modes of transportation in the plan.
We often hear the phrase, go big or go home. Was this too big of a proposal? Was it a 10-year plan? It's too sweeping, too much money for people to wrap their head around? Or
I would argue, if anything, they didn't go big enough. It's still
go
left.
bigger or go home. Is that the new slogan for you?
I mean, part of the criticism that we heard from the suburbs was that it wasn't big enough for them. It didn't include enough of the citizens who live in Oakland and Macomb County to merit their support. I'm not sure what the answer is. 2 years. I mean, if you looked at the plan, I thought this was a reasonable start to a regional transit system. It was designed to get people from where they live to work in ways other than in their cars. Most of it was concentrated, in fact, in the suburbs. I mean, these cross-county connectors between Macomb and Oakland, those are the routes that are the most choked in the metro area. I mean, people voted against their self-interest here, and we have we have 40 years of record of doing that here, and at some point, I mean, I guess we get the system we deserve. It's why people don't want to live here. It's why millennials don't want to live here. People's kids grow up and move to Chicago, or they move to New York, because those are places that are more accommodating of the kind of mobility that people want.
I agree, but you can't blame it all on the taxpayers. They were presented with a flawed setup from the beginning. We argued from the get-go that you can't have 3 different bus systems, two or three different taxes.
Well, but you can't wipe that out in the next 2 years.
You could have taken the time to wipe it out this time, and they didn't have the courage to do it. They didn't want to take on the various interests. But I mean, this was a very confusing proposal. These are the same people turned it down, passed the smart bus tax 2 years ago. So you can't blame it all on taxpayers.
They want their own thing. They don't want the regional thing.
This was not. That's a regional system. This is not. This was
a regional
not
system
a great,
that leaves half the region out.
This was not a great.
People can opt out of.
It's not a great setup. When you're asking people, we're going to start yet a 3rd transit system, and we're going to pay for that too. That's not efficient. That's not a good use of taxpayer money. I think if you really want to solve the major congestion problem in Metro Detroit, you extend that rail line all the way to Pontiac, take the pressure off those north-south routes where the real issue is, and in reality, that's where the jobs are too. And I think that would be a huge help for the region.
Do you think that we'd see that? Do we think that we see that rail line go all the way up?
So there are already plans coming together to move it down Jefferson toward Grosse Pointe once it's done and open, running between Grand Boulevard and downtown. You're talking about an awful lot of money is the issue to get it to Pontiac. That's a much longer route, and there's no, part of the problem with what we do here is that we don't understand that when we turn down things like this RTA millage, we are giving away far more, in fact, in federal money. I mean, the federal government thinks transit here is a joke. Literally, they laugh about the efforts here to try to get stuff done, and they don't send money. They send money to communities that work together, that have plans, that have systems that actually work. And until we get to the point where we can say, all right, we're going to be in on this and in on this for the long haul, we're not going to get that help.
They're going to have to revamp it. It'd be silly to come back with the same exact plan in 2 years. They're going to have to figure out what it is people will resonate to and sell it a little better.
Yeah.
They had a really poor selling job this time.
Maybe start a little earlier on that.